Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 2 of What If Deku Was a Saiyan. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. Izuku began to move the rubble with no effort, but after a few hours, he started to feel pain primarily in his bones and arms. He decided to turn off his muscle enhancement. He was very sore and went home. When he got home, he settled down and turned on the TV. His favorite show came to Izuku's attention and decided he would watch it later. Deku falls asleep and wakes up at 4 p.m. Deku wakes up about 3 hours later. He was still a bit sore but decided to keep training, but before that, he had to study for his test on Wednesday. So about an hour and a half later, he finished studying and his homework. He watched a hero training his body. He used weighted clothing and he decided to try that method of training, so he went to the store. Deku got 4 10-pound weights and ate 5 pounds. The first thing he did was put 1 10 pounds and 1 5 on his wrist. They were pretty heavy, so Deku started to practice martial arts by tutorials on HeroTube. About 6 months passed and the whole beach was cleaned by him and Mirio. Now all Izuku had to worry about was his classwork while Mirio was training on the beach just for All Might to be completely sure he was ready for One for All. So for the last few months, Izuku would train with 40-pound weights and go to martial arts classes while watching a bit of All Might videos here and there. He would end up knowing how to use small little blasts and a large energy wave, but he had an idea what he should call it. Tokyo Blast. He came up with this cause he thought about how All Might name his moves after states. He would name his after cities in Japan, and before Izuku knew it, it was time for the UA entrance exams. When he got there, he was more confident yet nervous. He still trips and gets saved by Uraraka. Izuku stood up and Uraraka asked if he was alright. She continued to say how he is so nerve-wracking. While talking to her, he noticed he had to look down to talk to her. He just now noticed he had grown 3 more inches. He was surprised he had grown so much. After this, they both walked in and separated. Izuku found out what city he was going to test in and stood in front of the gates as President Mike said go. Izuku ran into the crowd and got ahead of everyone in an instant. He racked up points as if it was nothing. 20, 40, 70. They were going up faster and faster. It seemed as if they weren't going to be any left for anyone else. A huge robot appears. Everyone scared by this and runs away, but Izuku just continues to get points. Then Deku hears someone asking for help. He turned around and saw the girl that helped him in the front was going to be killed, so he started running toward him. He couldn't control his body. It was as if his body was moving on his own. When he jumped, he got up to the robot's hand and started to run up its arm. He started to charge up the Tokyo Blast. While charging it, he jumped off to the side from the robot's shoulder and blasted it, almost obliterating the whole top half. Everyone watched in amazement as they all saw at how powerful he was. Once he landed on the ground, he created a crater, and the timer ended. After this, he walks away confident that he passed while everyone else is in shock by the sheer amount of power this kid had. In the next week, he easily got accepted into UA. Next day, Deku walks into class and everyone looks at him and are all thinking, hey, that's the kid that scored number 1 in this timeline. Uraraka is madly in love with Deku but doesn't know how to express it because of his heroic act. Aizawa gets out of his sleeping bag and says, it took you 8 seconds to shut up. That won't do. Rational students would know that. Deku questions, if this is my teacher, why was he in a sleeping bag? He introduces himself and tells everyone to put on their pea clothes for a quick assessment. Same order as in the anime. Bakago gets 705.2 meters. Then he explains to the class the person who's last gets expelled. The same thing as the anime. Bakugo and Deku start to race. Deku speed blitzes Bakugo, and instead of getting 7.51 seconds, he gets 5 seconds. Aizawa is surprised by him able to do a 50-meter sprint in 0.5 seconds but says speed isn't only going to save him. Bakugo is screaming, damn nerd, how can that monkey be faster than me? Grip test. He gets 56.0 kilograms in the anime, but this time his power and training would come to play and increase his grip strength to 2,903.5 kg or about 6,401.1 pounds. Then the final challenge, the ball throw. Deku thinks about his mom cheering for him and All Might saying, young man, you too can become a hero. He uses some of his power and yells Fukuyama smash. The ball shoots up to the sky to the point where it burns up by just the sheer speed it was going. Aizawa shows the distance of 5,500 m before the ball was burnt into crisps. All might be impressed by this score. Everyone else is shocked. And Bakago is shouting himself, how can this monkey boy be greater than me? I am the number 1 student here. The test went on and Deku was number 1 in all of them except for the ball throw, since Uraraka was infinite. Since in the original Aizawa didn't expel Deku because of the potential he had, but meant he would be expelled. Deku gets the same hero suit and fast forwards towards to the first training. Same team as in the anime, and matchups is still the same too. Everything's the same until we see Deku and Uraraka versus Bakugo and Idea. Bakugo tries to jump Deku, but Deku reacts. It hits him with a small weak blast, trying not to hurt him. but it sent him flying towards a wall. In a desperate manner, he rushes back and yells, "Damn monkey boy, I won't lose to a nerd like you. I am the #1 student here." Deku tells Uraraka to go towards the missile as planned, and he'll catch up to her once possible. He tries and tries again. Deku reaction speed and fighting speed is simply too much for him. He dodges and counters Bakugo blow after blow. Bakugo gets mad and starts forgetting about the environment destroying the building. Deku realizes he needs to knock him out to stop him. So, he waits for Bakugo to charge and then he jumps on his head with a fraction of his power. So he doesn't kill him, which launches him through the roof, reaching Idea and knocking out Bakugo. Uraraka is hiding waiting for Deku to arrive. But Idea notices her and tells her to come out. "I know you're there," in a villain's voice. Suddenly, a loud bam comes straight from below. It was Deku. This surprised Idea and caught him off guard. Deku exploits this and then yells Kitakyushu Windy Vortex Smash. Deku launches a punch that sends a sharpshooting airwave, which hits Idea in the stomach, launching him away from the rocket that lets Tima get the rocket. Everyone shocked again by his mere power being able to knock out Bakugo. Rest of the matchup and results is the same. Bakugo later asks what simply be that quirk. Deku say he simply doesn't know. Early in the morning, All Might called Deku in for a quick meeting with Mirio. All Might say thank you for coming. All Might say, "I believe you are the best person I could tell this because of your heroic action of saving that boy. I felt like you probably were wondering why Mirio was training on the beach with me." All Might say, "When I do, you must keep it a secret or else this whole world and you can be in danger. Are you up for the task?" Deku says yes, I am. All Might start explains, "I'm quirkless, and my quirk called One for All was given to me." Deku says, "How that's impossible. There's no way a quirk can be passed down like that." All Might reply, "Yes, it might sound exotic, but please let me finish. You see, the origins of this was long ago, a man with a quirk that could steal quirks and give them away forcibly gave his seemingly quirkless little brother a quirk that allowed him to stockpile power in his body. However, the little brother already had a quirk with no effect other than that it could be transferred to others. The little brother's quirk and the quirk given to him by his older brother merged and became one for all. The little brother somehow discovered this. He had a strong sense of justice, and he tried to defeat all first, but given the huge difference in their abilities, the brother failed. The little brother decided to entrust the quirk to future generations of heroes, hoping that they would cultivate One for All in one day complete All for One. Few knew the truth about One for All. The quirk was passed down through 9 generations, growing stronger with time. Currently, One for All is one of the most powerful quirks in existence, although it is quite difficult to master. I passed down my quirk to Mirio since he has amazing potential. I was thinking about giving it to you since the power you displayed, but I realized I already had my successor chosen, and also I was afraid your body wasn't built for it and it would take too long for it to be built for it." Deku is sad and disappointed that he could have been the potential successor of All Might. All Might see this and says, "No need to threat. You have great potential. You destroyed that reboot and was temporarily able to handle that sludge villain. Keep training and lighting up because a hero can't become a hero if they don't smile." Deku says thank you and walks out the door. As much happens as in the anime with the news outlets swarming UA because All Might teach there. Deku and Uraraka learning about Ida family. Deku tells both them this, "You must not tell this to anyone, but if I look at a full moon with my tail I'll turn into a big ape, and I have no control over it." Both noticed that they were scared. He says, "There is a way to stop me if that happens, to cut off my tail at least. That's what my mom says." The mob of the crowd happens like in the anime with Ida stopping it. Again, same thing as the anime, nothing much. Deku is not a class rep and Ida is instead. All Might see kids being in arms hold by a villain and yells Missouri Smash and then heads off, clearing 7 crimes in an hour. Classa goes off to the USJ site with All Might having to stay behind because he used too much of his time. A strange black-purplish portal pops up with the League of Villains showing up. Aizawa starts fighting villains that are trying attacking the students. Another black portal appears. Everyone gets split up as normally accepted for no invisible girl. Deku, Froppy, and Minda perform the same combo move as the last. Deku uses Kyoto Blast. He sends a big green wave which hits the water making a whirlpool, then Minda throws his balls sticking them. As they land, Froppy, Deku and Minda see Aizawa bleeding and his skin cracking. Because of this, Deku powers up. Green energy is around him and jumps in with a punch to help, but then the Namu comes and tanks the hit with little no damage and shock. The Namu punches Deku in the stomach, sending him flying. Deku could take this hit well because he was training his abs this month with the weighted clothing and supernatural durability. He lands on the ground and charges right back, simply pure strength. He punches the Namu with all his might. The Nomu tanks the hit, but then Deku charges a Tokyo Blast which blows up right in the Nomu face. Deku gets launched back by the sheer waves. The smoke clears up, the Nomu lower body is gone but then regenerates. Deku is shocked by even with that blast he could still keep on going even with the regeneration. The Namu charges and about to strike another blow. Deku tries to react to it but he is too injured too, but suddenly All Might dash in and blocks the punch easily and jabs the Namu in the sides, no effect. All Might says, I'm almost out of time, but I got to stop these guys because I am the world's symbol of peace and justice. All Might and the Namu go toe-to-toe with each other, exchanging punches. Every punch were more powerful and precise. Everyone is getting blown back by simply the sheer winds of their fight. All Might is not looking so good even with his effort. The Nomu jabs him in his injury spot. All Might gets sent flight to the ground and quickly gets up. Nomu gives him no time and rushing in but gets blown back by Deku's Kitakyushu Windy Vortex Smash. All Might shout nice one and then says give me backup fire. Deku says okay. All Might keep exchanging punches with the Nomu. As the Nomu about to land a punch, All Might jump away and shouts now. Deku launches another Kai Blast pushing it back. All Might say like that keeps on going. With the combo of Deku blasts and All Might fists, Nomu start to wear down but it's not over yet. Nomu roars slapping All Might out of how and tries punch Deku but All Might block it with his arm. That's enough. All Might kick the name away. And they start exchanging fist again. Trees are breaking, the ground is shaking and cracking. All Might scream if you're made to fight against me. If you're able to withstand 100% of my power then I'll have to go beyond that and force you to surrender. The remaining class see this and gets Ida to run over and get the heroes. Fight rages on with All Might turn the tables with breaking his limits. Each punch is more than 100% of his power. The Nomu charges back. All Might start hitting the Namu in mid-air, punch after punch, launching it into the air. He jumps up, beating it more and more. Finally, he grabs the Nomu legs and slams it towards the ground and says now for a lesson. You may have heard of these words before. Go beyond plus ultra. Namu gets sent flying into the sky like team rockets. The mere shock waves from this attack send everyone flying, destroying almost the site except for the entrance. This game-ending final blow by All Might starts to drain All Might and his from starts to wear off with steam coming everywhere. He uses this to scare the villains to leave, working until the Tamura says hey, he looks like he is getting weaker. Deku wakes up from the blow and sees what's going on. He feels enraged, stressed about everyone knowing about All Might's secret, and filled with emotions he rages out with an amazing rage boost. Thanks to his Saiyan biology he feels some energy bursting throws his body aren't his quirk. He's engulfed by rage, fear, and sadness. He sparks up with green energy that is lighting around his body. It's Kai. He rushes and charging a powerful green blast in hands. He yells to Wakaioo blast. The energy from his hand shoots out into a large ball, engulfs Tamura and Kurogiri. The ball slams into a wall and exploding. All Might take this opportunity and tells the other students to run away and get everyone. The heroes still haven't arrived yet. 10 villains realize he's a threat and charge at him all at once. Deku powers up another blast in his hand with his green aura growing more fiercely. He shouts Kaiotuu blast. This wave hits all 10 villains, launching them away with another big explosion. 10 more come. Deku sees all and runs faster than the speed of sound, punching all 10 villains in less than 0.5 seconds. Deku aura gets smaller, and he faints. Kurogiri and Tamura see this. They know they can't win but try to get Deku since he is knocked out and use him as a hostage, but the heroes arrive. Snipe arrives and shoots all the villains, fighting Kyoka, Momo, and Denki, and another 2 bullets at Tamura. Tamura screams in pain by being shot in the arm by the speed and power of the bullet. The heroes tell the rest of the students to get Deku and Eraserhead and run. They do so. Since heroes were too focused on saving the students, Tamura and Kurogiri teleported away with the rest of the little villains getting captured and arrested. Deku is in the nurse room with All Might and sees him. He asked if he is alright. All Might say yes, and asked Deku a question: what was that power back? Then, Deku replies with I don't know, it felt like I had some sort of hidden power inside of me. All Might think to himself, could it be part of the quirk? No, it shouldn't be. He thinks that might be a hidden quirk that he never unlocked. It might have to do something with his tail. All Might say to himself, no time to question, I'll ask him later. My powers are slowly fading away. So how do I tell this to Deku? Thank you all for sticking around and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description. So feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video. So goodbye and have a divine day.